new, cheap, and efficient Minecraft Bedrock Edition raid farm design. This is a stacking raid farm design that stacks up to 10 raids at a time, which is roughly around the maximum amount of raids that a single player could have running at the same time, just because of the ominous bottle changes. Is super compact in this form factor, and does not, by the way, this bottom part doesn't have to be here, but is very compact and uses trident killers, automatically kill the mobs, you know, has 10 villages with 10 villagers all stacked here, and can have 10 raids running at a time. This thing's raids are truly insane, with roughly one use, which is activating all 10 villages, and then doing their raids. It will get you about a double, like 2 rows out of a double chest worth of emeralds. So this is extremely effective for getting emeralds, as well as other raid items like totems, arrows, redstone, gunpowder, and all of the above. But I'm pretty sure if you're coming here for a stacking raid farm, you probably know about raid farms. And if you don't, well, this is a great efficient way to get started with doing raid farms. Alright, so let's hop into the tutorial. To start, we're going to want to find a good pillager outpost, which means that it's something along the lines of this, with a relatively flat area surrounding it, and something that isn't extended into the ground, and preferably have some of these structures around, because those are nice if you want to build up a ton of battle farms. Sorry, I couldn't think of the name. But the first step is you're going to want to break out the entire outpost except for this top layer here. Alright, so now that we got that cleared out, you're going to see that you have a platform that looks somewhat like this, and you're going to want to go ahead and extend each side out by 3 blocks. Alright, so now that we got this built out, this main platform up here is going to be where I'm showing you how to make a trident killer for these guys. Of course, these guys can spawn in any structures, such as these cages, this thing, these logs over here, as any of these secondary structures outside of the main outpost. However, they also have spawn spots, and I believe up to 4 of them up top here, and at least 1 of them. So that's why I'm using it. And you can use any other tutorial to make a trident killer or find spawn spots. I'm not really fantastic at it, so I just go for a simple approach. So first thing I'm going to do, kill off all the mobs. I'm just going to use peaceful mode, and then go back to hard mode. And you're going to grab some sort of marker block. For me, that's going to be oak wood. You see where he spawned. Spawned roughly on this block. Now, because I'm in creative mode, he isn't really moving all that much. But if you are in survival mode, they tend to move a lot. So let's say you thought this block was around... Oh, where they spawned? They spawned in between these 4 blocks. Let's say you thought around these 4 blocks is where they spawned. You could, you know, build up with glass pans. You could then surround the area that you generally think they spawned, and if it was within this area, you'll capture one. Now, you're going to need to grab yourself a locator map, and you're going to have to find directions. So, north is top, west is left, east is right, and south is down. Your arrow needs to point to the north, west. So, top, left. So it'd be northwest corner of this block. So this block is the official spawning spot, and it spawns between these 4 blocks right here. So to build a trident killer for this first one, what we're going to do is we're going to surround this with cobblestone, leave space for a piston, and then grab a comparator, the future, not a composter, comparator, I cannot type right now. Redstone dust and a lever. And I accidentally hit the question mark. Then just place the blocks, some more blocks like this. And then give this thing a roof. Break this out. Now, because there's no water in this, impaling will not matter, so you can just throw in any plain old trident. Now, one thing you need to do is you need to make sure that it's not just on this glass, it's on the air part of the hitbox, because that's where a pillager will guarantee be standing. And then you could just go ahead and kill him immediately. So once the trident's on that, as you can see, it looks like it's floating on air, but it should be fine. Now we're going to go ahead and bridge out 3 blocks. Going to place a comparator on with the light on. And then we're going to place redstone like this, and a lever right here. Okay, I think that doesn't work. Need to place a comparator like this, redstone like this, so go right there, and lever able to. Alright, there you go. The redstone should be flashing, and then this is going to be your redstone clock system. Now what you're going to want to do, back off again, and see where the pillagers spawn. You want to build a collection system. What you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to make a hopper minecart, rail, and a chest. Make sure it's a normal chest, not a trap chest. And what we're going to do is we're going to go underneath the spawning point, and we're going to place down our hopper facing into a double chest, like so. Grab our rail, place it like that, place a block above it like that, so that way when you place down the hopper minecart, it can't go anywhere. This will now collect all of your ominous bottles, and then like down here you can make some sort of like staircase to it. So like for example, something that looks, you know, a little bit like this. Oh, so you just access your chest. Now, you can, from my experience, you can do it with one. It does typically lag behind a little bit on the bottle production, but if you just AFK this once and then always turn it on when you're using the farm, it should be pretty good as far as production. But again, if you stand far enough back and find any other spawn spots, like this one right here, you can go ahead and just build another one. Second thing with these spawn spots is it's not optional. If you find one, you either have to build another one or you have to go ahead and grab leaves and place that over the block. Because if you do not, then there's going to be too many pillagers and your farming one, or your farmed one, like this one, will not be working. So take your pick what you do. But after that, what we're going to want to do is pillar up 30 blocks from the floor of this on this corner block. Whatever block on the roof of this is closest to the center. So I'm just going to choose this corner. And since this is 83, I'd go to 113. Alright, so now that we're up here, let's replace the very last block with a leaf block. And then we're going to go ahead and make sure that we have our directions right. So the villager pods need to be built facing north and south, because the tridents later will be built facing east to west, because otherwise then your tridents will have issues falling through and this raid farm will basically be useless. So what we're going to want to start by doing is building out 3 blocks like this, and then we're gonna build that out 4 more blocks in this direction and 4 more blocks in this direction. You can also get rid of the locator map out of your offhand now. After you do that, build a strip of leaves, then place a strip of leaves down here. Then now we're going to want to section this off. So this is 1 capsule. And since I'm in creative mode, I'm just going to do this easy way and back this whole thing. And if you have extra leaves, feel free to do it like this. And then this one is the last one here, so make sure that this guy will be safe. Basically, all you need to do is make sure that you have 5 villager pods here. And then we'll extend that up 1 more block. And we'll extend these parts. And of course, we'll go back here and we'll extend this by a couple of blocks, as these leaves are the actual area that you're going to be standing on. This is all just needed for the villager part of the farm. So now we're going to go ahead and these are temporary blocks that aren't leaves. But for now, we're going to need them to just go out here. Like so. And we're just going to make a mirror image of this. So what we're going to do is this is going to be the backside. So there's just going to be this 1 block between the villagers, and we're just going to line this like so, and then just build up these walls the same way we have them on the other side. Once you have that done, make a line of leaves. Like so, and then make a line of solid blocks, just like this. I'm trying to refer to it the way Minecraft Bedrock community refers to it instead of just cobblestone, because you could really use any non-flammable, preferably, block. But then, what you're going to do is just place more leaves for you to stand on. Like so. I would highly suggest grabbing a leaf of a different color. For me, I'm going to use cherry leaves to mark out to use as marker blocks for these spots to stand on. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to replace these. You could do it maybe after you stack a village in each of these pods, so that way you also know where the villages are stacked. But now that you've got this done, it's time for the hard part, the village stacking. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go 100 blocks in the one of the directions. It really doesn't matter. One of the east to west directions. I'm going to go this way, but you could go that way, but since it's already built with cobblestone and everything prepared, we'll go this way. And it's 977, and we're subtracting, or adding technically, so minus 100, it'll be 877, so negative 877 is where I need to go, and we'll see when we're there. Alright, once you made this 3-block wide path made of solid blocks, because beds cannot be placed on leaves. If we check here, yep, they can't be placed on leaves. So, oh gosh, I keep hitting that button. Solid blocks. Then we need to extend this by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we need to go like 1, 2, 3 in each direction. Like so. And just place down all these blocks. And this is the middle place where you're going to be setting up all your villages. I like to make this nice and big, so that way we don't lose any villagers. And now we need to go another 100 blocks in this direction. So 870, we need to go to 770 and make it through wide. Well, yeah, make it through wide. Meet you when you're there. Alright, now that we've got this bridge built out, I want to mention that if, for whatever reason, you aren't too confident with village stacking, or you've never done it before, and want to add maybe another 10 blocks away from each destination, I would highly, highly, highly suggest doing that, because that way, if you end up making some sort of mistake where, like, you place a bed a little too far forward, it's not the end of the world, and you don't accidentally mess up a village, and then not understand why your villages aren't stacked correctly, therefore forcing you to, you know, restart or tinker, which is never really fun with a mechanic that you don't understand. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set it by one more. We're going to build this structure, and then we're going to make space for 20 beds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's enough space for 20 beds. This is bare minimum to be able to get the farm running if you make no mistakes. I would suggest, in case something happens where like a ravager breaks loose, in case you build it wrong or something like that, you double the amount of villagers that are here. So just extend this by another 2 blocks. So that way you always have a supply of villagers just sitting out here waiting to be used. Now let's build up the wall of this thing. Alright, and one thing to note about these solid blocks is once you're over 100 blocks away from that area over there, there's no problem with raids possibly spawning out here because that's too far away from what's classified as a village, so you don't have to worry about that at all. Now, what you're going to want to do is place down all the beds. So just do it in a line like this. And this is actually big enough to support 41. Probably only gonna, and this is enough just to breed villagers. So now you're gonna want to find a convenient spot to get villagers. I don't know where that may be in your world. You might grab some from somewhere, make a minecart track. You might build this part of the farm near a village. whatever you may do, I don't suggest building that part of the farm, or that middle part. That middle part needs to be at least 100 blocks away from any village, so I wouldn't at all suggest building this within 200 blocks of a village, but let's say maybe there's a village, I don't know, 100 blocks out that way, or wherever you want to get villagers. We can go ahead and, since I'm in creative, I'll just spawn them in, and we're going to have to get them up there. So my favorite way to get them up there is to use a boat and a lead. So let's go ahead and go down to the ground. Let's say we've got 2 villagers. Preferably not. You can't use green coats for this at all, so he must die. But any profession, any biome type, doesn't really matter. Just chuck them in the boat, and then, you know, boat and lead them over here from where you were. This is the easiest way. And then just pillar up, and these guys will follow you all the way up. I'm just in creative, so I'm just going to fly all the way up. This is me representing that I'm pillaring up with these guys. And then maybe you aren't 100% close to the farm, so you can go ahead and just, you know, bridge over to here, whatever. Just whatever you need to then plop this boat onto these beds. There you go. They're linked up to the beds now. Now, you can give them either potatoes, carrot, beetroot, or bread, and they will go ham breeding you up baby villagers. As long as they decide to pick them up. Because I'm in creative mode, they kind of act weird. Yeah, you just get your villagers to pick up that, and they'll go ahead and just make a whole population of villagers. Now, because I'm a creative, I can just kind of spam a spawn egg and get plenty of villagers for myself. But once you've done that, you're going to want to make a railroad. So since I'm in creative, I'm just going to spam powered rails. Just going to make a railroad going from here all the way over to this platform over here. And power it. I'll just be a survival player. I'll use levers. And just power it. Obviously, you could alternate between normal rails. You could literally just push the villagers down the entire way if you don't have powered rails. You could, you know, just manually nudge them along. Whatever your case may be, you need to get 2 villagers from here inside of a minecart over to there. Now, since I've got spawn eggs, I'm not really going to do the whole, like, minecarting thing, but, you know. Alright, now it's time to start the complicated part, so we're going to do what's called village stacking. So we've got 2 unlinked, docile, as I call them, villagers over here, and we're going to go ahead and get them in a boat. Get in the boat! I would suggest in survival mode not punching them at all, just don't do damage that way. You can risk them taking damage, and then place the beds all the way, you know, all the way back. Now, as long as the pillows of the beds are not past this line, it's not going to hurt anything. I just like placing them all the way back here to make sure that there's not going to be any issues. And then, now that they're linked up with their 2 beds, we need bells. And we just need them to link up with a bell. Boom. Unlink. And then lead up this boat. Break one of the beds. Move it forward. I emphasize in survival mode, you want to light this pathway up. You want to make sure there's no way for zombies to spawn on this pathway. And you want to make sure that this is completely safe from any mobs getting to you. So the reason why we're using a boat and lead for villagers is A, because these guys have a tendency to just be really like just do whatever they want with walking. And so using a boat and lead also, if they fall off, you know, and you're standing up there, like, you could be, oh no, but you can just, you know, save them. So this saves you a lot of trouble with stacking. Now what we're doing here with these beds is we're basically tricking the game into not allowing for these guys from to join the villages that are over there, which there are none right now, but once you have some set up, there will be. The way this works is by already having them in a village, aka these two beds, and bringing that village by, once again, keeping at least one bed connected to a villager, which makes, since it was at one point part of a village, still remains to be a village. It keeps that village existing, and then if you place a new bed, it goes ahead and pushes that village forward towards the raid farm. Now, one thing to note is beds in terms of the game's village code is this bottom part of the bed doesn't actually really exist in terms of how things all play out. So all that really matters is the pillow of the bed is actually what the villagers link to, and it's actually what the game uses to calculate where a village is. So keep that in mind when you're having stacking issues, is that when I say move around the bed, you're moving around the pillow. And literally even like the rotation of the pillow can somewhat affect it at times. So like maybe you have a bed like this, but it's refusing to link. Placing it like that could make it link. Why am I saying all this? Because this gets a whole lot harder the more villages you have. But it honestly also is very inconsistent, because sometimes you can have a really easy time and other times you can have a terribly bad time. So now what you're going to do is you're down to here. Make sure you don't place this second to last bed on one of these two blocks. You're going to place the last bed here. It's going to link up. And now you need to figure out who's linked to what, because you've probably not been paying attention to the villagers. So just break this bed. It was the cleric. Now just place it back down. Was it the cleric? No, it's the librarian. Okay. See, this is why we always check. It's the librarian that's linked to this bed, or this guy over here. So this guy's the one that's going to be on my hit list. Next, we're going to place the bed. Don't have to ring it. Did not intend to ring it. Make sure they link to it. Break it. Place it one more time. If you must, make sure they link to it. And then put the villager that is associated with this bed here. So for my case, it's the cleric. Into here. And then place this on top of his head so that way he doesn't wander. Now before you break this bed, you're going to get rid of this guy. I personally just like to punch him off and watch him fall to his death. And then break his bed. Now we're going to surround this whole thing with leaf blocks so that way nothing can spawn on it. And you can surround it all the way up to here. I personally prefer to use a combination of glass and glowstone, just to give this place a sense of being lit up and to be able to kind of have a little view on your villagers. But yeah, now all you need to do is you just go all the way back over to this villager pod and then continue stacking them. Quick note when starting the second village, it is typically a good idea to not place the beds in the exact same spot you did the last time. So let's say I placed the beds like there and there last time. Should maybe rotate it to be like here and here. Basically, you just don't want the beds on this exact same spot, and by beds, I mean pillows of the beds. So, as you can see, when you place them on different blocks, it runs extremely well. I deleted the clip because I got really frustrated, but I had a clip where I literally could not get this second bed here to place because I had them on the same block. So make sure that the pillows of the beds are on different blocks. So my honest suggestion is to knock out the blocks that you place it on. So for example, I placed the beds on these blocks, just those 4 blocks, and so long as you change it, it helps a lot. I know, village stacking is weird, it's not really an intended mechanic. Secondly, now I want to talk about expandability for this farm. So this farm, you can literally just have 1, or you can have 10 stacks. Because I have already stacked a ton of villages in the process of creating the design for this farm, I am only going to stack 2 to prove to the fact that villager stacking works. This allows you to stack 10 in the order of coming from the side that I built this out on, right, going from far side to there, to there, to there, to there, and then swapping sides all the way over to here, far side, and then boom, 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 boom. And you just stack villages like that. If you stack villages out of order, so for example, if you stack this column, but this column is empty, you cannot get villages to stack successfully to this column once there's 1 in this column. Instead, you would have to make a new 100 block path with 2 villagers to start a village out here, which, I'll be honest, I don't think anyone really wants to do. So A, make sure you build it in order correctly, and B, make sure these guys do not die easily. Otherwise, you're either going to have to kill them or determine a new pathway to grab villagers from. So, I'm just going to figure out which one of these 2 guys is linked to this bed. Okay, it's you. So we'll place your bed back down. Now they're linked up to a bell. And then we can promptly murder this guy and break his bed. Once again, one thing you do want to note though is this glass, if you're going with, you know, this nice design that I have, make sure you place leaves above it. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this in with blocks that don't have villagers. So the bed, the bell, having these here doesn't really affect anything if there's nothing. If you're doing this in normal survival, I would not place these beds and bells when you have unfinished stacking, just because it makes your life more difficult with possible village linking issues. It's just because I know this is a creative world, you know, where I'm just trying to show you how to build it. I do not really care. Alright, now that all the villages that you want to have stacked are stacked, we're going to have to either break out all this cobblestone or place it over with leaves. So, since this is creative, I'm just going to break it out because it's easier. But in survival, I would probably suggest just placing it over with leaves. Now, just make yourself a little pathway that's like 2 wide, so that way you can get from one side of the farm to the other. And then do the same on the other side. Now we're going to need our locator map again, and we're going to need to find where north to south and east to west is. And once again, north, south, yeah, that's east, west. So we're going to then just fill in one layer of this with leaves, just like so. And I've used a piece of glowstone to mark out the middle block. We are going to have to replace this with leaves, but I just did that for my own convenience. Now we're going to go ahead and pillar up 2 blocks, and on the third one it's going to be the glass platform. Gonna replace that with a leaf, and on the east to west, east to west, we're gonna go out 4 blocks in each direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then north to south direction, we're gonna go out a total of 8 blocks. So, yes, to anybody who has OCD, this is off-center. I am not sorry. No, I'm just kidding. 1, 2, 3, and we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're just gonna go ahead and fill this in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take solid blocks and we're going to build up a wall around this. And this wall. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the sides and we're going to build a wall. This wall is going to be 4 blocks tall with the corners filled in. So let's wrap this around. Then go up like this. Now that we've done that, we're going to want to make it 1 more block higher. Just like this. And this is going to be the roof layer. So we're going to just build this out like so. And now we need to make this. We do actually need to cover these sides with cobblestone. Down by the glass. And then we need to make this wall 3 feet thick, so 2 more blocks out for each block. Alright, so now we got that built out, and the reason why we built this out so many blocks from this center spawning platform is because Ravagers have a tendency to, you know, kind of escape, and they can also break leaves, and the last thing that we want to happen is for a Ravager to get out here and murder all our villagers, because that would suck. So let's cover this top part with leaves, just like this. Alright, so now is where direction is going to start to matter. We're going to go up into the kill chamber area, and we're going to designate our directional spots. So let's grab some water. And east to west is where we need to push them. This is the center line right here. So we're just going to make these all water sources. It's going to end up pushing out. Now I know you're saying, isn't this like center part like easy enough to stand in? Well, yeah, mobs will spawn here. Every mob eventually pathfinds to try and find a villager, which will then push them towards the direction, as well as the fact that you're probably going to be having like 800 mobs spawn in this really small location, so they're just going to push each other away. Got it? Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to line this up like Okay, we're gonna have to cut this here. Hold on. So now what we're gonna have to do is line this up like this. And then build this block. And then do the same on this side. So we're gonna line this up like this. Build up this block. And then this final one. Now what we're going to do is we're going to install our Ravager killer. So let's grab some signs and some lava. And we're just going to kill them using that because that's just the simplest way to go about it. So we're going to place signs up here in a row going somewhat like this. And then also just on the sides here, down here, and on this side here, and I'll skip till I have all these placed. What's this? This sign has a message on it? Ah, it says subscribe. Which is something you should totally do if you find this tutorial helpful. But anyway, back to the tutorial. We're just gonna fill this in with lava sources. I don't think they necessarily have to be lava sources, but it makes it a lot more efficient and look nicer if you do lava sources, so that's what I'm gonna be going for. And try not to accidentally edit that sign too many times. There we go. Now, the last component to this is to dig yourself out, and then place these blocks back, and get the tridents. Now, your tridents do not necessarily have to be enchanted with Impaling 5, but, you know, you should probably enchant it with Impaling 5. Because the amount of mobs that get into here is kind of ludicrous, and it would cut your speeds quite low if you don't have Impaling. So then just enchant it. I would even say if you have a drowned farm, it wouldn't be ideal to throw 2 tridents per piston in. So we're going to break in from the back, kind of just do our best to find this room that we've created. And then we gotta layer it with pistons. Find where the wall is. Okay, the wall here is there. The wall here is there. So we need to grab pistons. Line this entire thing with pistons. And go up another block, go to the back of these pistons, and get the redstone placed. Got redstone dust. Just slap that down on all these on all these pistons, not sticky pistons. And then we're gonna go ahead and throw the tridents in. So it makes it really easy if you just break out these blocks and grab your tridents. I would throw in 1 to 2. Per spot. Once again, if you're stacked on tridents, do 2, because you're going to end up doing more damage. And when you get to the point where you're exploding with mobs, it's kind of nice to just have those 2 doing some insane damage. So if you can afford it, I would definitely suggest, you know, throwing in extra tridents. Then just block this all up. And one quick note about this part of the farm is make sure that you were incredibly careful with when you log off, because if you log off when any of these tridents are being pushed by pistons, they will just fall through the ground. It's just gonna happen, and then you'll have to go in, you have to break the glass, and then you have to go and pick them up, you have to break this out and rethrow them, which isn't a huge deal, but it's a minor inconvenience. So now we're gonna install the redstone line for this, so let's grab the redstone dust, and we're gonna run it all the way over to this side of the farm. It's gonna be in by 1 block, and because this is just 1 block, we aren't really in any danger of Ravagers messing up this, so we'll just run this redstone line. All the way. Timestamp thing when we're building the trident killers, so that way you know to skip to here. What we're going to do is we're just going to simply modify this a little bit. We're going to go and we're going to just make this more like this. And if we look at it like oh, this is supposed to be that line. There we go, just like that, that's fixed. So sorry for the inconvenience about having to skip this part of the video, but let's restart the time lapse of the whole shenanigans. So from there, gonna find out where it dies. It dies in the perfect spot to extend it. Let's grab a repeater and extend that signal. Perfect. We're gonna cover this all up on every piece that isn't redstone, and then we'll flip this. Boom, boom. And we gotta find where we're going to build the trident killer on this side. So this side, it seems to be right here. So we're gonna go ahead and place down all these pistons on this side. Make space for the redstone line behind them. Wire that up. And then make space to throw in the tridents. Throw in your impaling 5 tridents. Just really anywhere on this block, because the piston won't be able to push them. And boom, now you just seal this up with your solid block, in this case cobblestone. And do that back there, and seal this last part off. Finish the job. There you go. And now, it's time to install the collection system. So, for the collection system, I'm actually going to go ahead and keep it nice and simple. For now, you can kind of hook this up to whatever type of collection system you dream of, but you at least need something like this, which is to run hoppers into the sides, and then just grab some chests, and, you know, place them down. Now this is not nearly gonna, you know, do the farm storage need justice, and actually this isn't even correct. Whoopsies. Is you need to build this layer down, because of how this it's gonna grab things using a hopper minecart and its rails. Let's make a hopper minecart track like that, and then just have it loop on a solid block, and then use redstone block, redstone block, powered rail, more solid blocks lining like this. More rails. Probably throw in some powered rails on this side with redstone blocks underneath them if you wanted to. You don't have to, but what the heck, I kind of have the resources since I've been creative. Throw that turn on, throw that there, and place that here. Just go ahead and grab ourselves some hopper mine carts. We need like 2 of them, should be enough for even 10 villages, and then we're just going to, for now, just place chests underneath these hoppers. Once again, this storage system is never going to do the speed of this farm any sort of justice whatsoever. These are going to fill up very fast, especially if it's stacked up. This is just a demo version, and I'm going to you got to duplicate the other thing on the other side, because you got to collect it on both sides. Okay, so now that we've got this built, I would just suggest building up some sort of like staircase thing that are leaves on each side, so that way you can collect the experience from the farm by coming along up here. Now unfortunately, because of this collection system, we can't fully utilize this without building this roof over here. So if we wanted to, say for example, not use this down part, and you just wanted to make it this upper part, you could extend this on this side, and then all you'd have to do is just drink your ominous bottles on these blocks instead, and then on these blocks on the other side. So if you really wanted to compact this down, you could legitimately get rid of all of these leaves and stuff and all this and that and just be up here, but I don't really care about that. I don't really care for that. Now, the way to activate this farm is the first things first, flip the lever. That's going to turn on your trident killers. And what we're going to do, grab ominous bottle, and okay, that almost was a mess up. And you're going to want to do one more final check on the place before you test it, which is to check for any solid blocks that don't have a leaf above them. I do not believe I've left any out, so let's go ahead and run the test run. This pillar's fine. I would suggest coming down here and just covering this with leaves, just in case. I have never actually had it happen to where our raid has decided to spawn down here, but it's always good to be precautious. So we're going to fly back up here, and then we're going to make sure we turn off peaceful mode. We have peaceful mode turned off. Now flip the lever, and then for every village that you have villagers in, you can start one raid. So that's where these marker blocks come into play. Just drink them. Sorry, my game's really loud right now. And stand in front of it now. Half the time, the raid bar will start as soon as you drink the bottle. Half the time it will start after the cooldown. Either way, if it starts after the cooldown, you just stand here the entire 30-second duration, wait for until ready to start up, and then you move to the next one. Now, if the raid starts instantly, it is slightly faster because you're able to drink it at one, and then go to the other, wait for the cooldown, drink it, go to the other. And so it is that slight bit faster. Thank you to everyone for watching the tutorial. I am glad that you made it through, and I hope that you can find my brand new design of a 10 stack stacking raid farm useful in your Minecraft Bedrock Edition worlds. And if you do, and you wouldn't mind doing me a favor for putting in the work to figure out this design, then maybe give a like, drop a like and subscribe. And one more mention I want to give out is thank you a ton to, I believe his name is Gingercraft. His first video on stacking raid farms introduced me to how the whole village stacking mechanic can work, and was a big help in designing this reformed stacking raid farm. So I'll leave a link to his channel in the description, and I thank you all for watching. Catch you in the next one. The raid, and we just need to make sure we fix this as well.